welcome to IST622 week 3. Several of you asked me about capstone, especially capstone proposal and the term project. So I'm going to spend a few minutes to go through what's ahead, okay? So capstone proposal, we originally said that it will be due in May, but after discussing among faculty and staff, we realized it's probably too much to ask when you are taking such heavy courses, especially you just went through 526, right? So we decided to postpone and ask you to write it on your own from June 17th to July 5th, because that's your summer break. During those 3 weeks, you can still work with your capstone advisor, get feedback, and or when you have a draft by July 5th, you can send it out to your capstone advisor, and you can work and further revise in July and August. So the final full proposal is usually due a couple weeks into the final 699 course. And IST 699 is the only and also the last course that you need to take for your capstone in the fall. And unlike other courses, 699 is not 8 weeks. We extend it to 16 weeks so that you will have almost 2 terms to work on a capstone, because capstone is a fairly involved, huge piece of project. And if you do not remember who your advisor is, send me an email. I will check our advisor list and let you know. Okay. So this is the proposal timeline we're talking about. And I will make the full proposal template available under my course in week 0. So the full proposal template is a bit longer, meaning that it has a couple more sections. The preliminary proposal template that you have did not have the evaluation testing section. Now that you are taking 622, you should be able to write your evaluation and testing plan in your proposal. So I will provide the template soon after this lecture, okay? So another question your concern is the term project for 622, right? And the overall purpose of this project is to have you experience doing a usability test, and then collect pre and post test scores to measure whether there's significant difference among those 2 groups of scores mean. Okay, so using a t-test. So in order to do that, you need to first decide on the prototype. Which prototype are you using as an intervention? Okay. For example, if someone does not know how to drive, your prototype is about teaching them how to drive. So you want to give them a pre-test and ask them a few questions, whether they know all the traffic lights regulations, they know basic driving and street regulations, right? All the rules. So you can have the test subjects to fill out your pre-test, and then you give them your driving test prototype, and then give them the post-test. The post-test and pre-test can be identical or equivalent forms, meaning their difficulty level and number of items, they should be all the same. And so you decide on the prototype. As I said, 526 prototype is fine. If you're not happy with your prototype, you can find another training material or commercial education material to use. But it has to teach something, right? It needs to have a content, so you can measure the gain after the intervention. So the second thing you need to consider is your target audience. You need to know what the target audience of the prototype are, and then from that target audience, you want to recruit 5 to 10 test subjects. Usually 4 to 5 subjects will tell you about 80 to 85% of the usability problems, which usually we recommend. However, because you're combining usability tests as well as the effectiveness test here, I would like you to have at least 8 students or 10 students. so that you can have a higher statistical power to say whether this intervention or this prototype is effective in teaching that content. Okay. And after you determine those two things, you will need to determine the pre and post test. Come up with your instruments, right? Pre and post test to measure their knowledge and skills on the content you are going to teach. And then task for subjects to complete. Okay? You give them a number of tasks, probably 3 to 5 tasks for them to complete. And then you have an observation sheet that you are observing where they're stuck, whether the navigation system is intuitive, whether or how long they spend finding the answer to each task that you give them. And then afterwards, you will give them the post test to see that whether their knowledge on the subject improved or not. And then oftentimes you will want a post survey or interview questions to see their satisfaction level, to ask whether they are happy with the colors, whether they are happy with the navigation, things like that. It's more usability questions. Or you can have a focus group interview questions, assuming that if you did like 5 to 10 people at once, you can have a focus group interview questions, interview sessions to ask them. Or you can combine these two things in one survey. Okay, you have some rated items, you can have some interview or open-ended questions. Okay? This is all only suggested. Oftentimes people do not do interview because there is not a lot of time in this course to cover these kind of things. Okay, so you plan the details and decide on when, where, and how to conduct the test. And then at the end, you need to analyze the collected data and then report. Okay. So week 3 is fairly heavy. We will talk more about sampling strategies and talk about probability and tests of significance. So we want to know that what the p-value is about. And then comparing two means. How do we know the two sets of scores are statistically significant from each other? Okay. And then you will use Excel to run t-test. So there is a lab and also a quiz for this week. And next, I'd like to just show you some examples of a few capstone projects, just in case it's helpful. Okay. I need to go to capstone website. So usually we have a capstone website like this one, and then this is from last year's capstone. So they do all different things, right? For example, this student, she did an course design. Okay, she taught, for example, how to use Moodle and how to use turnitin.com in your class. So if you are designing a task for your usability test, you probably want to ask something about turnitin.com related questions, okay, or rubric about details. So they need to go through the tutorials to understand or be able to answer the question. Okay. Or we have different projects. Okay. For example, this student, she's a technical writer in Dell, and probably she wants to design some tasks, specifically asking certain standards. Okay. And by coming this website, you need to where to look for. Okay, probably it's under product tutorial. It's probably bootcamp for tech writers. Okay, and going through all the tutorials. For example, coming in one tutorial.
After you complete this section, you will be able to select the product version to learn more about it.
Okay. So you probably ask something like, what virtual appliance uses, okay, and then it actually uses VMware infrastructure, right? So this her tutorial is to train specific low-level engineers or entry-level engineers how to use those things. So after they use the tutorials, they should be able to answer these kinds of questions, right? So the tasks you're designing for your usability test should be content specific. It's either asking certain things about the content for them to find, or it's navigation specific. For example, if you are doing a usability test on um, a website and you want to know whether the information architecture is intuitive, you can say, okay, find contact information on this website, or find the phone number for a certain person on this website. And that becomes a task for your usability test subjects for complete. Okay. Hopefully this is useful. And then if you like, I can share the capstone website with you so you can take a look at what kind of capstone projects our students do. And those are people who presented in December, and we usually have presentations in different times of a year, probably 2 or 3 times. And this is the blended students, not the fully online track, but you guys all have same professors and same set of curriculum, so the project should be similar at the end. Okay. Hopefully this is helpful, and if you have any question, ask me in the class or through email. So I will see you online then. Bye bye.